You're watching FanTeam Daily, a podcast by WhoScored.com. Hello, we're back. Welcome to FanTeam Daily, the fantasy football show that could help you win real money with your football knowledge. On FanTeam Daily, we'll be looking at the Premier League Fantasy Football Tournament, which has a minimum guaranteed prize pool of £1 million and a guaranteed first place prize of £200,000. It's great to have the Premier League back next week. I've missed it. I feel a little bit refreshed and I've had a break after the Euros. And it's time to introduce my panel. First up, joining us again, fantasy football royalty. I'm sure you write your own descriptions here, Ben. It's Ben Dinnery. How are you, Ben? How's your summer?
Fantastic, mate. Absolutely fantastic. Great to be back. Summer was short. Obviously, a quick turnaround between the Euros and kicking off into the Premier. But look, this is what we're all here to do. Back to the grind, back to the day job, and can't wait.
How sad are you that Hazard didn't bang in the Euros? Because I know you were very confident on his prospects.
I was very, very confident, as I was with Belgium overall. Look, you roll with the punches, you get back up, dust yourself down. I'm back here to win a 200k first prize. Absolutely. And we've got a new co-host. We haven't got Jake anymore. We've got Linn Bjornbakk. How are you, Linn? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, hello, everyone. So I started playing FanTeam for the Euros this summer. That was the first time. And I enjoyed it so much. It's so similar to FPL, but it's different enough to make it interesting and something new. So I've been playing fantasy football for 8 seasons, 8 years. I guess 3 years more seriously. And I'm a big Liverpool fan, as you might know.
Yeah, I was going to say Liverpool side behind you.
Better with me.
Nice. Yeah, it was my first time with the Euros game as well. FanTeam. I agree. Like just a couple of tweaks to the rules make it a bit more interesting, and the prices. I have to say they absolutely nailed the prices, and we'll be talking about some of those in the show. The game is similar to FPL, as Linn mentioned. There's not too much to explain in terms of rules and scoring, but we'll touch on them as we go. Linn, do you want to explain what's coming up on these series?
Yeah, sure. So FanTeam Daily will have 5 shows between now and the start of the Premier League season. And today's show will be looking at the essential picks and the must-have players as we assess the premium and most expensive options. Later in the series, we'll also be looking at the budget options. We'll assemble the perfect WhoScored squad based solely on statistics, and we'll also reveal our teams. And finally, we'll be giving 1 free entry to the game via trivia questions, so stick around for that.
Excellent. Well, I guess we'd better get on with it. So I guess we'll come to the easy question. When you built your FanTeam squad, Ben, who was the first player you stuck in?
I'm going from the top. Linn is going to absolutely love me tonight, by the way.
Your Liverpool bias.
I am all over Liverpool like a cheap suit. And it has to be Trent for me. Look, a number of reasons. He's going to be one of the few players that is going to be fully refreshed. I know he had that injury, which forced his withdrawal from the England squad. But let's not sugarcoat it. Gareth Southgate is not a fan. I don't really think he even wanted him anywhere near that squad, and maybe that injury was a little bit convenient for him. And yes, Trent hasn't last season wasn't as good as his previous 2 campaigns, but he was still banging in terms of more shots, highest expected goal involvement. He was the best of any defender. He was the 5th highest creative chances across any Premier League player last season. And when he sort of came back into form towards the back end of that season, Liverpool really kicked on. He's massive. He's got a point to prove. They've got the World Cup coming up next year. He want to be fighting for that place in the England squad. And like I say, I think there's a few people just, maybe there's a few niggling doubts in people's mind, and Trent will want to go out there and really blow them away. And after, like I say, after being rested in the summer, I really think that Liverpool and him will hit the ground running.
So have you been a little bit tempted by Robertson, a bit less? Van Dijk obviously is quite a bit less. You've got a few options there, but it's Trent you're paying the extra money for.
Yeah, I mean the concerns with Van Dijk, he's coming back off the back of a long-term injury, so it wouldn't come as any great surprise if he was to pick up a couple of knocks and niggles. And also he's got to acclimatise, get to the pace of the game, regardless of what you're doing in training behind closed doors. Non-competitive friendly games, you cannot replace the Premier League, the cut and thrust of what is, the fastest, most energetic league in the world. So that would be my concerns with Van Dijk. And with Robertson, Yeah, I think he's 0.5 cheaper, which would be nice to bank. But I'm going on the fact that it's a summer off, and Trent has more to prove than what Robertson has.
Lynn, I've got a wild theory that you're going to also suggest a Liverpool player was the first in your draft. Would I be right?
You are right, and of course, I will pick a Liverpool player, but also I'm not picking Trent.
I think I can guess who it's going to be if it's not Trent.
Yeah, I'm going with Jota, of course.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Fair enough.
You're thinking Mane, I guess?
I was thinking Salah, obviously.
Salah, no.
Most expensive in the game. Jota, okay. Sell Jota to me, because I'm not too sold on him, not with Firmino knocking about.
I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. He's actually played all four several times. I think we'll see a lot more rotation in the front four this season. It's going to be like Salah will get rested, Mane will get rested, they all will. Because now he can actually afford to rest them and not just run them dry. And Jota, he's 7.5. It's just incredible value, and he will play most games, and he does love to shoot.
So again, I think this is really good pricing from FanTeam because Jota's in at 7.5, but then you've got Mane in at, around 10 million, and then you've obviously got Salah. So I think this is where the FanTeam pricing to me is better than the FPL pricing, because I wouldn't even be considering Mane at 12 alongside Salah, but he's in that bracket. If you then got Jota as well, it's what can you do with that kind of extra money as well. He had a poor Euros though, Jota. You're not a bit worried that you think he's going to start you must be confident he's going to start the season pretty strong then.
How many times did he not shoot during the Euros? He might not have been at best, but he wanted to score. He wanted it so badly. And yeah, since you also get a bit of extra points for shots on target, I don't see what could go wrong.
There you go, Josh. Well, I'm going to say a name that you're not going to like, Lynn, as my first pick, and that was Fernandez. And I know that he's getting a little bit of stick at the moment, Fernandez. A lot of people with him in his team are getting called scared of the template, ineffective ownership, and all this kind of stuff. I just think he's still, him and Salah to me are just a league above everyone else. That the shots they take, their influence in the team, the penalties they've got. And I know there's been a few changes to the VAR rules, or they're thinking of bringing some changes. But I think with Sancho there, I think Fernandes could get even more penalties than he got last season. Are
you not worried that Pogba is still at United? And we know that Bruno's output is a lot less when he's on the pitch as well.
Yeah, the rumbling, the transfers rumbling on about him going to PSG. I think there's something going on there. What happens with Pogba? He either starts on the left, I think, early on, which I don't think would massively impact on Bruno. I just don't think Pogba's going to fit United going forward. So I think he's on the way out. I think PSG are going to come in with a bid for him. I think he wants out as well. What do you think, Ben? Fernandes, is he in your team?
Well, if I start talking about Fernandes now, I might, spoil things later on in the podcast.
Don't want
that. But look, the concern for me looking at this United attack is how we shoehorn all of these players in. We'll assume that Bruno's going to be the main man in, but who plays in and around him? I think we could see a slight switch in formation tactically with the arrival of Varane. It's generally accepted that maybe Maguire and Varane together in the heart of that United defence are strong enough for maybe Ollie to then ditch those two, defensive midfielders and just have one in there. So United could be far more attacking this season, which would be great for the likes of Bruno. But then I'm looking, elsewhere, who plays up there around him? Potentially Pogba. But then you've got your Martial, you've got Greenwood, you've got Cavani. It's an absolute minefield. But look, Bruno's most definitely 100% on my radar.
He's on your radar. So what about Salah then, Lynn? So you mentioned Jota. Are you partnering him up with one of Salah or Mane? You must be.
Yes,
you must be. Yeah.
I'm having them both. It's just too good to be true.
Yeah. So what you're going for Jota and Salah or Mane, or all three?
Trent, Jota, and Salah.
So you're not tempted by Mane's slightly lower price?
A bit. But still, we've got so many good mid-price options, so it's not really a problem to get Salah in. Talking
about Salah is almost so obvious. I mean, the fixtures Liverpool have got, the form he's got, the penalties he's got, he's just the complete player. I think even with Mane at that price, you're very brave if you don't go with Salah for the start of the season. I mean, Norwich in the first game, a promoted club, We know what Liverpool teams can do against Norwich, what Suarez used to do against Norwich, what Salah's done against Norwich. I think it's going to be a routine for them. So I think we're all... Ben, you're not going to say that you haven't got Salah in any of your teams. I won't believe you if you do.
No, I kind of...
You want to, don't you?
Look, I am known as differential Dinnery, and I hate it when my template edges past, the 10 or 12%. But I might even give, given the fact that there's so much money in this prize pool and cash to be won, I'm thinking about giving it a serious stab. And for me,
you sound so disappointed with yourself.
You know what? This is going against everything that I've ever done historically. Against me set and forget, against not including anybody with over sort of 13% ownership. But if you're serious about winning money, then Salah, you cannot look past him. And if you do, at your peril.
So what I'm hearing is differential Dinnery's sold out.
Advantages of FanTeam over FPL is you can enter more than one team. So certainly in one of my teams, Salah will be there. On another team, on my differential team, maybe not so.
So it lets you sell out, but have the caveat that you had other teams with differential players. I like it.
Yes.
That's very good. So a player that we haven't mentioned, I'm not sure if he could really be a first player on the team. We've definitely got to talk about. I mean, Danny Ings has just out of the blue signed for Aston Villa. Ollie Watkins was someone that I definitely had in majority of my drafts on FanTeam. I don't think I'm going to be picking him anymore. Danny Ings, though, could be straight in. Lynn, he's an ex-Liverpool fan. He's an ex-Liverpool player. You're a Liverpool fan. Match made in heaven with Danny Ings?
Oh, yeah. I'm getting... I've even been eyeing him up when he's been playing for Southampton this season. Maybe I should get him because he does score, doesn't he? If he's an Aston Villa and he's got Buendia and Bailey and give me.
I hear a lot of yes. I mean, it's Ings and then it's going to be Buendia, Watkins and Bailey all behind him. I mean, Ings is good. If Ings can stay fit, he's good for, 20 goals, with assists. He's just a class player. 30 million though, Ben, for Danny Ings. It is quite a bit of money. They are splashing the Grealish money, aren't they?
30 million. Look, if he takes Aston Villa onto that next level, if he raises them, then 30 million is a drop in the ocean. We know about the vast sums of money involved in the game this year. For Villa to kick on, it would be European football. They can recoup that, no problem. And if Europe then attracts, bigger and better signings down the road, Danny Ings is more than capable of helping Villa. Good. The concern would be if Jack Grealish does leave, then, we've seen that downturn in form during his absence last year, both in attacking outputs and chances created. It was easy to see there was a big gaping hole left in the absence of Jack Grealish. So there's a lot of pressure on the likes of maybe Emiliano Buendia, who everybody... he looked at his form when he came up with Norwich and what he's done in the Championship and thinking, we've got a player on our hands here, but you've still got to stand up and you've got to be counted. And it's not easy in the Premier League.
So are you Ings in or are you Ings out? What do you reckon? Do you reckon you'll be starting with him? On the fence.
As a Southampton player, he certainly wasn't anywhere near me drafts. In the first couple of drafts, he wasn't a player that I was considering. Obviously, there was the rumblings going on with will he stay, won't he? Danny Ings will want to go out there and prove himself at another club. And I still think he will think that he's got another big move. He wants to sort of break into that top six and maybe Champions League football. So, Aston Villa could be his stepping stone.
I really thought he could go, I thought he could go to City, be a backup striker there. I thought Spurs would be a perfect signing for him. They're desperate for a striker with all the stuff going on with Kane.
I think, but the issue is with Danny Ings, and with all due respect, he's got to be playing. He's had a couple of serious knee injuries there. He's had well-documented, other problems on the back of that. Going to a City and playing a backup or going to Tottenham and if we assume that Harry Kane's still there, he's not going to be playing second fiddles. I think he needs to be playing first team football. He needs minutes at this stage in his career. He's missed enough. So maybe the lure of those teams and, at Villa, he's going to get guaranteed first team football. He's going to be, you would think more often than not, if fit, Danny Ings starts. And that's what he needs.
I think it's a great signing. Great signing of Villa. He's got a lot of creativity around him. He should do well. Right, Lynn, coming back to you, and I'm banning you from saying any Liverpool players for this next question. What player hasn't left your draft?
I'm going to pick one I know you actually like. Okay. And it's not a Liverpool player.
Good.
It's a City player.
Okay.
I'm trying to stay away from their midfield because it's just the roulette there is just too intense and we don't actually know who's going to start. And it's just such a headache. But defense has been a little bit better.
I know where we're going with this.
Yeah. I'm going for Cancelo.
Now we're talking. Yeah.
Because I do want to get in on their attack. And I think he's the best defensive option to get both a clean sheet and maybe a bit part of the attack. Cancelo has been in most of my drafts.
That's exactly why I like him, because to me, he feels like a kind of attacking player who's probably more nailed to start than any of the other options. I mean, a lot of people are going for Mahrez. He's had kind of a bit more of a pre-season. Foden's obviously been out. I just worry a lot with Grealish. I think Grealish is almost certainly going to sign. I don't know how that's going to impact the likes of Gundogan. I don't know where Ferran Torres is going to play. Sterling's going to come back at some point. You've got just so much attacking potential there. So yeah, I like Cancelo. I mean, if you're a bit more boring, so a differential Dinnery won't like Diaz, but obviously he's there at the same price. If you're not feeling as bold and you think Cancelo might get rotated a little bit more, then Diaz is there. But yeah, I really like it. Ben, who have you got for me?
I was just going to say, I mean, I do like the flexibility of Cancelo playing on the left, right, or, a little bit further advanced up the pitch. Look, I'm going to be boring. I'm sorry.
Oh, what's happened to you, Ben?
I'm going to have to stick Liverpool. I'm looking at those first 7 fixtures. If you get a good start in this game, it eases a lot of pressure further down the line. So I've looked at those opening 7 games. That gives us a big enough of a data set to assess the situation. Of course, we'll have the second international break by then. And for me, one of the best early runs is just that Liverpool team. They're playing 2 of the promoted sides. They've got Leeds, Burnley. They had 5th and 6th, I think, overall XG conceded last season. They faced Chelsea, I think Man City, both at Liverpool. So you've got the Kop, should be rammed. They'll have that home support back. And yeah, it's Mo Salah. So, I'm going to try to capitalise on those early Liverpool assets and get off to a good start for once in my life.
Yeah, I know. Well, you are now also banned from mentioning Liverpool players, Ben.
Well, that is me done. That is Liverpool.
You've your quota up, both of you, I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say someone completely left field then. I mean, I know this is a kind of a premium podcast, but I really like Smith Rowe at Arsenal. He's cheap, and we'll talk about him more when we talk about the budget options. But in terms of a player who hasn't left my first draft, as soon as I saw he got that number 10 shirt, he was just straight in. The link I've got to the premiums is having a player like that enables you to get more premiums. And that's how I've been able to build a team with the likes of Trent, Fernandez and Salah all in. And I think, these enablers can do wonders for kind of the rest of your team. So I guess that leads us quite nicely on to the next question. Then how many premium players do you tend to go for? I mean, at the moment, a lot of people are saying Fernandez isn't this kind of essential. So I'm seeing quite a few teams with 1. I think the majority probably have 2 with Salah and Fernandez. Some crazy people going for 3. How many do you think is about right?
I think 2 is I'm happy and comfortable with that. I'm still, the concerns for me, as it has been towards the back end of last season and the Euros, is we have COVID hanging around, and I need to keep money aside for the bench to have a little bit of depth in there for any unexpected absences, any late withdrawals. So I think trying to shoehorn in 3 premiums just does not give me the option of being able to back up from the bench. So I'm happy with 2. And I think there's enough elsewhere to make up a decent squad anyway. I don't think you have to go out and pick up all those premiums anywhere.
Lynn, any drafts with 3?
Depends on your account. If you can defenders like Trent as a premium, because it's a premium defender, then I would say 3.
Oh, that's cheeky. Yeah, you could do.
But if you just look at midfields and forwards, I don't think I have anything with that. Maybe 2, maybe.
Do you think De Bruyne coming in could shake things up a bit, mean that we might need to consider 3?
Yeah, but I'm also a bit worried about, he seems to get more and more injuries, and I am not convinced he's going to stay fit the whole season. So I'm going to try to stay away as long as I can.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing with this, the kind of the 2 or 3 players I think maybe you could squeeze in alongside Salah and Fernandes, maybe Mane, given that he's a bit cheaper. You've got Sancho there as well, really kind price on FanTeam at 9 million. So he's kind of just in that premium bracket. And Son as well. I mean, playing up front without Kane. I think it might be possible to build a decent team with those 3, but I think if you're starting to then go on to like De Bruyne at 12 as well, I think that's when your team is just going to be too weakened. So Linn, you mentioned De Bruyne, you're not considering him. He's over 9 million. He's a premium option that you're not really considering. You want to see some like proof of his fitness before you to go for it. Is anyone else that you're not really going for premium wise?
Yeah, Aubameyang.
Yeah,
I'm not convinced. I feel his confidence has been too butchered, and he just needs to find his feet before I go near him at all. He was one of my nail-ons for last season.
Yeah.
And yeah, big letdown.
Yeah.
Also, I'm staying away from Wardy because I think he's going to be phased out and maybe not get as much game time.
Yep, I completely agree. Ben, anyone to add to that?
I am not a Raheem Sterling fan.
Even after the Euros.
Euros.
He's our hero.
Let's forget about the Euros. He should never have been at the Euros. There you go. I'm saying it because he was absolutely garbage last season.
Wow.
Major disappointment. If you looked at his attacking outputs from the previous season, he was down by a quarter to a third in XG. And you know what? Yes, he finished, I think it was 9th overall in FPL points total, but he's still priced up as, you know, that I think it's top 5. And for me, I just cannot get away with him. And if Jack Grealish does sign, then, you know, for me, I know Pep is a fan, but the writing's on the wall for Raheem. It's just, nah.
You are as passionate against Sterling as Linn was for Ings, but for him. Yeah. I mean, wow, he's a bit of a hero of mine. He's on my wall. He's back up. He's out the bin. Anyone saw that? It's very hard to argue, though. I mean, you've got to remember, everyone's got to remember the Euros, you know, under Southgate. Southgate obviously really trusted him. He seemed to have lost all trust from Pep last season towards the end. He just couldn't get going. I wonder what his future is there. There's rumours of a new contract, but I wonder if that's going to materialise. He's an important player for City, but I think with Grealish signing, he could be forced out.
I'm not convinced even by the Euros. Look, that goal against Croatia, man, he was slipping. That's it. Sterling conversation done.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about strategy. So, you know, it's a week and a bit to go now. We're picking our squads. Are there kind of certain things that you think about, Linn, when you're picking your team? So do you avoid new signings? Teams with new managers, for example, like Wolves have a new manager who we don't really know too much about. New players to Premier League. I don't want to mention the likes of Werner, but Werner signing for the Bundesliga with, you know, big potential, but never really delivered. Or promoted sides. Is there any players that you kind of try to avoid?
Yeah, I learned the hard way to stay away from basically anyone new.
Yeah.
Because Premier League is so much tougher than most other leagues. And some players just can't do it. They're not the same kind of player they are in like Bundesliga. I will give them 2-3 game weeks and see if because we do get transfers, we can get them in. We don't need to start with them. Well,
it's why Fernandes for me is the one to go for over Sancho, because a lot of people start with Sancho. But for me, if they start doing similarly well and you want to move down to Sancho, it's a lot easier than if Sancho doesn't perform well and you want to move up to Fernandes. Ben, any strategies for you?
Yeah, I mean, I echo what Linn said. The sort of slight caveat to that would be, and I mean, I was one that was badly burned by avoiding Bruno basically ever since he came into the Premier League, because of just staying away from players who are unproven, because it is just such a different and dynamic league. But, you know, if there are maybe assets at the lower, you know, price points, then maybe I'm more prepared to take a little bit of a punt on those. But certainly high-end premium players just coming into the league, then, you know, I tend to avoid. And again, promoted teams as well. I think you can more or less just disregard anything that's went on in the Championship, you know, because it is completely irrelevant. That jump, that step up in class, you know.
Well, that leads nicely on to a question. So what's your thoughts on Ivan Toney then? Because he is $6 million on FanTeam, which I think is crazy cheap. I actually love a promoted striker. I have one pretty much every season that I've started the game with, and I can't remember there ever being as much hype about one as there has been about Toney. Is he in your side?
No, he isn't.
Oh,
but he's a player. I mean, he did have a little bit of time on Tyneside. There was a lot of talk about Toney, about that he's going to be the next big thing, the next Newcastle number 9. You know, the filling Alan Shearer's boots, and it never really materialised. Never really got his chance to shine, in all fairness. But look, again, I'm always wary about individuals with great data points and great metrics, and look at his record is fantastic. But then you're looking at the players in and around him. Yes, we've seen exceptions to the rule. I think, Sheffield United, their first season up, Wolves have done particularly well. But, it is difficult. And it's 6 million. Is he worth a punt? I think, of course, he is. That's great. But that is right on the very limit of what I'd be prepared to spend, on a player who is unproven. It's particularly in no disrespect to Brentford. I mean, yeah, they've been a great championship team and they've done well in domestic cup competition. And when they've come up against a different class of they've stepped up and they've produced the goods. But can you do that consistently? Especially, it'll be great during the opening weeks of the season. They'll arrive, full of enthusiasm, full of energy. They're going to have that home support, which will undoubtedly help them a lot. But once they get, into the humdrum of the league in it, they settle down. It wouldn't surprise me if Brentford do struggle.
We see it a lot, don't we, with players? I mean, like Andre Gray, Pookie a few years ago, they start off on a flyer and then gradually things start to kind of even out. What do you think about Toney, Linn? What do you think about promoted sides in general? Because a lot of the time you get this kind of like talisman player, don't you? And Buendia would have been it for Norwich, but now they've got Pookie. The kind of thing that everything goes through. Did that not make them a little bit more attractive for you, do you think?
Yeah, most definitely. And also, I try to let myself pick like one risky player out of 15, just someone I think is fun. And I think Tony's kind of fun, isn't he?
He is fun.
Like he likes to shoot, he likes to score. He's a passionate player. And I love that kind of player. So, yeah, I do have him.
I think a good thing with someone like Toney is you get these points for 90 minutes, which you get on FanTeam. And they're not going to sub him.
He's so cheap. So it's okay to take that punt.
Yeah.
It's not like 9 or 10 millions. It's 6-5.
Because
I have a bit of fun.
Exactly. Well, I like Toney at 6 and then Smith Rowe at 5-5, just because of what that lets you do with the kind of rest of your team. I really like Toney. I think actually FanTeam have underpriced him. I think 6-5 probably would have been about right. So he's one of the few players who I actually think is maybe a little bit lower than they should be. So I like him. Talking about premiums again, talking about captaincy, differential Dinnery. You're surely going to tell me that you are, you fancy captaining a non-premium player every now and then. You don't just always go for the Salah or the Bruno, do you?
Absolutely not. Staying fixated on premium assets, you're limiting the options. I try to teach. My team is almost like a working document. I will assess it week by week against opposition, on a number of different factors, and whether I deem a defender, which I have done in the past, as a better captaincy option than a Salah or a Bruno or a Harry Kane, then I'll go for it. And then sometimes, do you know what? It's just a game, and let's just go for the gut shot. Draw.
Even when there's a £1 million prize pool and £200 on the line, it's still a game, is it?
I tell you what, if you look at, and I've been playing FanTeam now for quite a while. I've been involved for a couple of seasons, not only in the season long game, but particularly as well the monster game that they have on a weekly basis. And if you look at those managers who do well, who win the money, they're always throwing in a curveball in there. There's always somebody that just goes a little bit off the reservation every now and again. Obviously, there's huge elements and slices of luck involved in that. But for me, that's the big appeal. That's what spices up, because if I'm template and if I'm with the sheep, then I need more. I just need something else because if a player bangs, everybody else is with you and you're riding a wave. If you've got a sneaky little differential stuck in there on a captaincy pick and it returns, then the upside is far greater.
So Ben, I'm going to say 2 words to Lynn, and I want you to watch her eyes light up. And those 2 words are Joe Willock.
Yeah.
Because that was one of your best moments of last season, wasn't it? Surely captaining him.
Yeah, it was amazing. Also, Castagnier, Thibauty.
Yes, absolutely.
Two good captains.
Yeah.
I do love a differential captain.
How often would you both say they work out for you, or do you end up being a bit more annoyed than happy?
I would say 50-50.
50, yeah.
And if I go for like a safe one, then maybe 70-30. Like, yeah. But it's so much more fun.
I know. Well, my greatest moment last season by far was Trossard. You know, I don't think I'll ever beat that. I had my Trossard kit on. I was watching the Brighton game. I had him captain on everything I was playing in. Goal scorer challenge element as well. And when he got that goal and an assist, that is FPL, isn't it? That is literally what FPL is all about. Trying to find that differential captain. So speaking of that, so the opposite of that. So FOMO. So we all get a little bit of FOMO every now and then when we're thinking about players. Lynn, who are you worried about? Not only who is the player that you can't quite get into your draft, but you know is probably going to do quite well?
You're going to know the answer to this one. It's Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
Also, I've not seen you like a single team that he's not in, which kind of scares me because I do rate your opinion.
You rate my opinion. That's brave.
Who scripted this one, us?
Yeah, I'll just check it. Oh, that was me. Yeah, I put that in. Yeah. Yes. Well,
the FOMO's strong.
The FOMO's strong. Bruno. Yeah. I think the thing with me and Bruno was that I built teams without him, and then I put him in, and I just didn't feel like the ones without him were that much stronger than the ones without, even when I could have spread the funds around and maybe get like a slightly better defense or a 7-5 mid rather than a 6-5. It just wasn't really enough for me to do it. Ben, what do you reckon? Any players that you're worried about?
Look, it was Bruno for me as well. I think there's a big
everyone's no Bruno these days. It's crazy. I'm the only one who's got him, I think.
I just think the addition of Varane, so that's slightly, change in attacking formation. I'm also looking at the arrival of Eric Ramsey, set piece coach. So it's something that Solskjaer has focused on throughout the summer. And, Bruno's going to be at the heart of those. If you look at those opening 7 fixtures, Leeds arguably is probably one of the most difficult games that they face, but that's at Old Trafford. And also, if you look at, the number of goals Leeds conceded last season from set pieces, then that's something for United to maybe capitalise on. If you look at the last games of last season, I think West Ham, Newcastle, Villa were all, bottom 4 for XG conceded. So you would assume, if anything is mirrored during that last part of 2020, 2021, then United could be off to a great start. And that Bruno, well, even if he isn't having a great game, and even if he does absolutely nothing, he always seems to pop up with the points. So that is the big worry.
2 Brunos. Well, I can't say Bruno because I've got him in every draft that I've made. The player that I'm worried about is Son, because I'm basically just completely disregarding Spurs as an option this year, with the Kane probably leaving, with Nuno, who I think was maybe their 3rd or 4th choice manager. We don't know what his tactics is going to be. I don't know what the mood of the camp is. It means I'm going to avoid him. But then I think of Son, and I think of Son without Kane as well. And you think about these out-of-position players. I mean, he's going to be an out-of-position midfielder playing up front for Spurs. The fixtures aren't too bad for them after the City game. They got Watford at home, I think, game week 3. And he seems to play that could really be this kind of differential pick, especially as a captain for that week that could propel you up the ranks. So I'm definitely going to have him in at least one of my FanTeam teams because, I think I'll just be too worried to go without him. It'd be on penalties as well. It'd be interesting to see what Spurs do in the transfer window, especially if Kane goes. Right, so that's it. So Lynn mentioned earlier, we're giving away free entries to the game. So we're going to be running a competition at the end of each show. For this giveaway, you just have to answer a trivia question correctly and write your answer in the comments sections below and include your FanTeam ID. We will select one right answer at random and we'll give you a free entry. Lynn, what is today's question?
The trivia question is, which defender in FanTeam scored the most points last season?
Very good. Ben, do you think you know this one?
I think he's a centre back for Newcastle, if I'm not mistaken. So
definitely.
I've got this one in the bag.
I have a feeling that's not quite right. Lynn, do you know this one?
I think I might have an idea.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it to myself.
Yeah, I think I know the answer to this one as well. Right, so put your answers in the comments below and we'll pick a random right answer and you'll win a free entry to the game. Right, golden rule. So we're going to end this podcast with a quick fire golden rule each. Lynn, I'm going to come straight back to you. What is your golden rule for fantasy managers going into the new season?
Play it safe, play it boring, win the whole thing.
Differential Dinnery is going to be furious with that. Play it safe.
Lynn.
I was not expecting that. Why play it safe?
Because I'm so bad at it. I get distracted by differentials and fun players and punts and so I'm just going to try to keep it a bit low key, play it safe.
There is no way you're going to keep it low key and safe. I don't believe it.
I'm going to try. So maybe I can find a middle ground and that will be perfect.
Well, that is why FanTeam is a good game, because you can have, say you had two teams, you could have one which is nice and safe and boring, and then have one which is Trossard and Joe Willock and all the other guys who you want to captain. Ben, what's your golden rule?
Looking ahead to the new season, don't read too much into those pre-season fixtures and results. Yes, we're looking at the final pre-season fixture games as a likelihood of lineups. But you can take what's happened with those results and those performances and those start 11s prior to that with a pinch of salt.
Very good. My rule is looking at the points, the extra points that FanTeam gives. Something like the shots on target points, I think they can be a little bit misleading. So if you're trying to only target sort of defenders, for example, who get 0.6 for a shot on target, Dallas had the most last season, most shots on target with 18. So it's only going to get him around 10 extra points. I think shots on target is a good metric for trying to work out who is attacking, and someone like Salah's going to have the most and stuff, so you're going to get those points. But I'm not sure specifically targeting those kind of bonus FanTeam points is really the way to go. The one kind of difference to that, and something Josh, the winner of last year, talks about a lot, is those 90-minute points. So the players who play 90 minutes every game just seem to absolutely clean up on FanTeam. So in the next show, we'll be talking about our budget players, and his favourite player in the whole game on FanTeam is James Ward-Prowse. So we'll definitely be mentioning him at some point. So that's it from us. Thanks for watching FanTeam Daily by Who Scored. Make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure you follow Who Scored and FanTeam on all the social platforms. There's loads of great conversation, loads of debate going on, so get involved in that. Like I said, on the next show, we'll be looking at budget options and cheap enablers. Ward-Prowse we mentioned, Smith Rowe I will definitely mention, and that show will be live on YouTube on Friday the 6th of August. So Lynn, Ben, thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next show. You're watching FanTeam Daily, the podcast by WhoScored.com.